SpaceX officially filed for its IPO and the numbers came out. They are targeting the date June 12th, which is when we are actually going to be in Malta. So we might do a SpaceX IPO watch party. If any of the listeners are in Malta, then let us know in the comments and we'll send you an invite. But SpaceX is raising a $75 billion at a $1.75 trillion valuation, which is the largest IPO in history ever. I'm wondering where this is going to go. Is this going to go up? Is this going to go down? Time will tell. But Dan, what do you think of the SpaceX IPO? You just behind the scenes said, I think this is going to go down. What's your thoughts here?
Right.
And of course, nothing here is financial advice.
Of course. Look, I cannot predict the degree to which markets will remain irrational. It's obviously ridiculous. It's definitely not worth, a small fraction of that target price. And it's all based on hype. And the person who, as you know, I referred to as the South African, he is extremely good at hype. Like, he's a fucking master of hype. And so that's what he's selling. He sells hype. And that's what it is. Little but that.
Okay. Interesting.
Any more
Ben.
questions?
No, I'm excited to hear Ben's opinion on this one.
No, I'm excited for this. I mean, they're raising a lot of money, but if you look at what SpaceX is doing, they're doing everything from creating the chips with the terafab to now launching them into space. They have a moat because basically SpaceX has a monopoly when it comes to being able to launch payloads into space. And I was listening to Gavin Baker speak about kind of the economics behind GPUs, running GPUs in space. And it seems like the costs will just go down significantly because you have these data centers will be in the sun 24 hours a day. They will be orbiting the Earth at just the kind of clip where they're always getting sun. Meanwhile, the cooling part, right, the radiator and kind of that side of the GPU is actually in the shade, so it's very cool. And Gavin Baker was talking with a lot of the people down at Starbase in Texas, and he was saying that they're way more confident about this than Starship, for instance, right? Like, this is a way easier problem to solve, the AI data centers, than getting payloads to Mars. And he also was forecasting that basically TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor, which basically has a monopoly on a certain part of the kind of GPU stack, Elon's going to just poach all of those people. They're going to all move from Taiwan to Texas. And next thing you know, there's going to be this little Taiwan that's right in Starship. And Elon is basically, according to Gavin Baker, and I believe it, is thought of as almost a deity in China and Japan and the Eastern countries. And Dan is raising his eyebrows, so he might say something differently. But yeah, I don't know. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Yeah, I'm curious to see.
Yeah, I'm curious why Dan is raising his eyebrow before I put my opinions here. I kind of agree with Ben. Like we've been saying over the last few episodes, it's how SpaceX and XAI merged into this. Like, it's not just the space side, but they're combining everything that's currently relevant in the AI race. And they have the GPUs. They're going to send data centers into space. The Starship is only a small piece of the bigger picture. Like, with their acquisition of Cursor now, they might suddenly be relevant in the coding wars as well. But if you see, we're going to discuss this next, is the Cursor harness, for example. Then the Anthropic deal, providing compute to Anthropic, where that's the fastest growing company ever in history, which also potentially is going to IPO, and it's listed here on the same tweet that we just brought up. So it feels like Elon has been manufacturing this story, and you're mentioning hype, which is correct. But he managed to get the story of all the moving pieces that are currently relevant, talking about energy, talking about coding, talking about AI, talking about providing compute, and then talking about bringing humanity to another planet. All of these things are a nice story, and he's just creating stories on another level than any other entrepreneur, in my opinion. And that's, I think, also why this actually might be a successful IPO. 1.75 trillion. Well, if you think about it, 75 billion raise, that's about 75 billion float. If the excitement can get 75 billion of retail money in, that means the price will go up, right? And then they think irrationally. And yes, after, 2 months or so, there is a big unlock. and then the cliff ends, and then price will potentially go down, but price might first go to 3 trillion or 5 trillion. That's the bet I am willing to take or make. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking. Then here as well, OpenAI is targeting September and Anthropic is targeting end of year. I've heard rumors for November for Anthropic and OpenAI actually maybe even sooner than September. Maybe another question here, might this be the top of the market? Is there enough money in the market to sustain such high valuations, or is this going to drain liquidity from all other stocks? That's what I'm maybe worried about. Yes, these valuations sound exciting, but what about our portfolios?
The last thing here is that, like, we don't know how much Anthropic and OpenAI will be raising, but I think a lot of people probably could say that Anthropic could raise even way more than what they are already. I think they've raised to date something like 60 to 80 billion dollars. So not a crazy amount. OpenAI's last raise alone was 100 billion. But I don't know, the valuation to me of 900 billion, like, I know I said SpaceX previously, like I would invest in it, and they do have the biggest moat and they don't necessarily have as much to show for. But to me, the combination of Anthropic and SpaceX, you're kind of hedging between real world AI adoption, which is Anthropic today, and SpaceX, which is this moat of future capacity. But we'll see. It could be hype. I definitely don't rule that out completely.
On that note of raising, I heard an interesting fact yesterday in a podcast I was listening to where they're comparing OpenAI raising money and Anthropic raising money, where Sam really squeezes the last bits out of it and sets up financial structures and everything. Like, yeah, you give me 20 billion now and you give me the other 60 billion later and this and that, and based off our IPO when it's happening and blah, blah, blah. And then you have Dario of Anthropic. He raises his money at like maybe 70% of what actually is the value, but he rather has it closed within a week than setting up all these financial ways. And I think that's also why the Anthropic valuation might seem a bit lower than what we feel like it might be worth. Talking about the same topic here. SpaceX is reportedly planning to acquire Cursor 30 days after its IPO. This is another piece of the puzzle that kind of fits and brings like extra value to that IPO, I guess, right? Thinking about how Cursor has been at the forefront of decoding, AI coding. Like in the beginning, everyone was Cursor, then everyone moved to Claude Code, but now suddenly Cursor is the greatest place to code again. Yeah, this is... You don't think so, Matt? You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Where are you coding, Dr. Dan?
So I use a combination of things. I have my own harness, which I can tell you about later, which I'm intending to launch very soon. It's open source and it's free. You can just use it, omniharness.dev, if you want to check it out. So I use several things in parallel, and I found that not a single one is like the ultimate answer to everything. But if I have to pick one, I would pick Codex, certainly, over Claude Code and everything else. Cursor has no moat. They don't care what they claim. Their models are not frontier. They're, LM 5.5 with fine-tuning. They don't have their own models. They fine-tune Chinese models. That's what Cursor does, right? And so either they somehow magically catch up with Anthropic and OpenAI to compete, or they are buying somebody else's product at a higher price than that person is selling it to you. So this doesn't make any sense, right? So Anthropic and OpenAI and others, and Gemini, are very heavily subsidizing the tokens that you get. I mean, the token usage, every token costs them money, basically. Like, you're burning their money. The more you use it, the more you burn their money. They don't make money. And yes, Anthropic is now starting to squeeze. I agree.
But isn't that the mode of Cursor right now? Like, they suddenly have the Elon compute behind them, and they can offer cheaper and faster coding experiences and a lot bigger limits than any others. Like, I max out at Claude quite a lot, but then their composer is actually like close to Opus 4.5 and close to GPT 5.5 for a fraction of the price.
I disagree. Yes. All of these benchmarks are rubbish. Like, I've played with the Chinese models, this basically the same model these guys have fine-tuned, right? And it says, it's equivalent to Opus, whatever. And then you use it, and it's not. And it spends half an hour de-indenting a line in Python, right? One thing is the benchmark. Another thing is real-world usage. They're not the same, and they have diverged for a long time.
Don't you think there's like a huge advantage in having all the user data over the years of how a user interacts with coding models?
Agreed. Agreed. So what do Cursor have? Yes, they have the user data. That's super valuable. 100% agree with you. And that's what they use to fine tune their models. Good on them. And now they have this like SpaceX backing, yes or no, we'll see. I don't even know what the specials of the deal are. It says like 10 billion if we walk away.
Yeah, 60
I'm
billion
not
buy
sure.
price. That's confirmed now, which is 3% of the valuation.
Let's see. Well, maybe that's true. I'm very skeptical. Elon is not famous for, fair dealing and doing what he says he will do. So we'll see. I guess we'll see soon because of the IPO. So anyway, that's Cursor. So yes, they have some data and they have some mind share. They have some users being aware, so the brand is valuable. They do have an IDE, which is a fork of VS Code, which at this point adds almost zero value over VS Code itself. Because actually VS Code is bringing all the features that Cursor already has. They're just coming into VS Code naturally, natively. And so the next thing for Cursor is to become Codex, right? Their agentic window is the Codex window. They're copying the Codex interface. They're no longer even innovating. No, they're just like trying to catch up, right? So I actually don't think Cursor has much going for it.